Dyesol Ltd ASX DYE is the leader in Perovskite Solar Cell technology, and joining me via Skype from Canberra is Managing Director Richard Caldwell. Good morning, Richard.
Good morning, Tim.
Now, you've just released some very interesting news to market about a grant, but first let's talk about that provisional patent that you've just applied for.
Sure. Some months ago, in joint work performed by my UK group and Cristal, we did some early investigation into a hypothesis which provided some very interesting outcomes, and basically determined that if you modify the surface of the mesoporous titania that is a core material in our photovoltaic cells, that we could significantly improve the performance of the photovoltaic device. So we've been looking into that a little bit further, and essentially what occurred in that early work is that we took, say, for an example, an otherwise 10% performing cell and transformed it to a 12 to 13% performing cell. So it made us very exciting. It was a chemistry that had otherwise not been explored in any of the photovoltaic cells that we in the emerging Perovskite Solar Cell area. So we thought it was very novel. We were excited about it. We've got a lot further work to do, but it was enough, and for us to have the confidence to put together a provisional patent application. So that's now been filed. So we're in a position now to talk a bit more freely about it, because that intellectual property is protected.
So you've done this in joint venture with Crystal, which is a subsidiary of TASNI. Can you explain the relationship between the University of York, Crystal and Dyesol?
Sure. Well, the University of York is a leading university in the UK. There are one or two other academic institutions also involved in this work, including the University of Newcastle. Cristal has a long-established relationship with the University of York. Cristal is essentially located in Starlingborough in the northeast in the UK. And when we went to Cristal and we discussed about the best way to undertake further investigation, we thought we should engage with the university, because universities have, for example, very high-quality equipment, which is important in undertaking further investigation, and this is often very expensive equipment. We're talking about things like X-ray photoelectronic spectroscopy, XPS. These sorts of analytical tools are expensive. They're not things that Dyesol necessarily would want to
have on the
buy
shelf
themselves. No, because we try to use our limited funds very, very carefully. So it's good to be able to use the resources that the university have, and also apply 2 or 3 PhDs to fully understand why this improved performance is occurring in the cell, so we can capture it and optimize it. And one of the things as well about this technology, this halide modified titania surface, is that we think it's very scalable and very industrially applicable. So sometimes discoveries to improve cell performance can be somewhat limited in their impact, because they might be, for example, through the use of expensive materials that wouldn't be appropriate to adopt in industrial applications.
Well, one of the great benefits of the Perovskite Solar Cell technology is you're driving down the cost to produce the solar cell. You're increasing the performance, and it's got a much longer life. And so if you can provide a solar cell that does that, and then come across a discovery that increases that technology by another 2 to 3%, I think that's significant.
Yeah, listen, it's early days, but for example, the world record for perovskite solar cells at the laboratory level at the moment is 22.1%. The theoretical target for optimizing the performance of cells by the academics is just north of 30%. So, for example, if we could take a 22% performing cell and make it 25 by using this enhancement, that'd be very exciting. And again, highlight the potential with this technology in lowering the levelized cost of electricity that we produce from our photovoltaic cells. So a lot is happening in this space in a very short period of time, and that's why it's really capturing the attention of both the investment community and the academic community. And it really does have the potential, ultimately, we think, to be quite a disruptive technology.
Let's talk a second about, you're doing some work with ARENA, which is the Australian Renewable Energies, and they're a funding body, but now you've engaged with the Engineering and Physical Sciences and Research in the UK, which is the UK's leading funding body and research organisation.
Well, yeah, I mean, the takeaway from this exercise has been just how quick the turnaround time was in the UK. I think we were talking to the EPSRC as little as 3 to 4 months ago with this idea and applying for a significant grant, and the turnaround time's been very quick.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that other countries could perhaps learn a little lesson from that, because it is important to for our commercial to maximise our commercial benefit that we're fast and get into the marketplace as soon as possible. As I say, it would be good if other agencies around the world would take a leaf out of the UK's EPSRC and adopt the same sort of efficient practices.
Now, you've just been awarded a grant for £800,000, which equates to about 1.4 million Australian dollars. What will that money do? What are you going to spend that money on in terms of research and development of the product?
Well, to investigate and understand this chemistry better, it's money that we would have had to spend anyway. So now that the British government has stepped in to fund that on our behalf, it's a fantastic addition to our resources. So we're very excited by that. There are sort of broader potential applications from this discovery beyond photovoltaics. Of course, that's our area of focus, but for example, there's potential benefits to things like catalysis, for example, which is not an area of interest for us, but the reason that it attracted very quick attention from the UK government is the broader benefits that it may have in a number of different applications.
So that's very exciting. What's coming up in the short term for Dyesol, Richard?
We have quite a lot on our plate at the moment. We've really tried to lead with the technology in the past 2 to 3 years, because without the technology, any commercial relationships are reasonably limited in their benefit. So we're really leading with the technology, and we're ticking off the milestones. We're really starting to scale our technology at the moment. So by the end of the year, I expect we'll have something internally known as Mini-MAD, which is a mini major area demo, which will be at the scale of 450 by 650 millimetres, which will be an intermediate step before we get to our major area demo, which is due to be completed next year. We're working very closely with VDL, Enabling Technologies Group of the Netherlands, to do that. Now, these guys are some of the best engineers in the world. They work for NASA. They work for BMW. They work in high precision, high throughput type technologies, and to have them as a partner is a really important validation step when we start to scale from small modules to larger and larger devices. So certainly by this time next year, I would expect we will have a full-scale demo, which is targeted to be 600 by 1200 millimetres, which is equivalent to a typical photovoltaic panel.
A rooftop
panel. That'll be available for accreditation. We're working closely with NREL at the moment. We're working closely with Newport. We work very closely with CSIRO on a daily basis. So that'll be available for accreditation, testing, demonstration, showcasing. Some of the world's biggest companies have already been in touch with us, wanting to embed some of this technology in their products. Even even the likes of major drink manufacturers for powering outdoor vending machines. Now, these are not particularly exciting from our perspective, but they're very novel and fun type applications. We're far more interested in, large scale utility type applications for our technology. But, anyway, spreading the word through sort of novel and fun demonstration with some of these companies will be something that we'll be exploring, because we really need to engage with the global energy community to demonstrate just how attractive this technology is and how it can displace existing renewable technology. But one way or another, renewables are coming, and of course the global political scene is far more supportive, even in Australia these days, for introducing these types of products into the market. So we feel, even in the last 12 months, there's been a lot of progress made in acceptance of new technologies as being available and to be supported by government to ultimately fully displace fossil fuels. And of course, battery technology is improving on a daily basis. Bringing our panels and the new battery technology together is really providing a one-stop shop where ultimately consumers of energy will be able to leave the grid, for example. And I know a lot of people are excited about the prospect of leaving the grid, because a lot of people are dissatisfied with the quality of product that is provided by their energy providers at the moment, both for the cost and the quality. And energy independence is another reason why these new technologies are very attractive.
And particularly for remote places like many people in Australia would have that difficulty of getting electricity to wherever they are if they're remote.
Sure, we were talking before we went online about 70 kilometres west of Grafton. That'd be a perfect location for hooking up our technology with a battery to provide 24/7 energy.
Yeah, when you think about it, Grafton's a fairly major centre, and only 70 kilometres west there's no power. There's plenty of people out there. Dyesol Ltd, the world's leader in perovskite solar cell technology, and we've just been talking with Managing Director Richard Caldwell. For investors watching ASX DYE on the Australian Stock Exchange, and in the US and ADR DYSOY. Thank you again very much for joining us, Richard.
My pleasure, Tim. Look forward to speaking with you again very soon.